Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, or I should say New Jersey football fans. I know we have some guys in North Jersey. We were not going to lose sight of them. Mark Trible, Tim McAneney here with the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show here from Studio B. Mac, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, too. Well, we've seen a lot of each other over the last four or five. Usually it's week to week. This has been a week. It felt like football hasn't stopped since it started.
I know.
2 straight weeks.
I know. Congratulations to the Hoosiers.
Big win against the Fighting Illini.
Yeah, I can't say the same for my Hokies.
No, the Hokies had a tough one against, was it Old Dominion?
Yeah, it was. I've got on my Monarchs colors here as a little bit of a salute. Congratulations to the Monarchs for their win over my alma mater.
Yeah, Hoosiers were down, came back, fourth quarter, last second touchdown, home opener. Big day for Hoosier fans.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of football here, Mac. We saw each other Thursday night. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the game we saw at Rutgers on Sunday. But first, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. Be sure to share it out. A lot of content you're not going to find anywhere else for South Jersey football. We had some incredible games. This was the first week where everybody played. We had some stunning upsets. There was just a lot going on, but first we're going to open it up and talk about our game of the week, which was sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com. Saturday, Haddonfield got off on the right note. They started out 20-0 in the first quarter, turned into a 44-26 win for Coach Delano and the Haddons, spoiling Paulsboro's debut for Coach Kevin Harvey, the former great quarterback who'd been the offensive coordinator there. He was impressed at the poise he saw from quarterback Declan McCarthy Jr. He did have an interception, but he was outstanding. Other than that, he was 16-19 for 248 yards and 4 scores. He ran for another. Patrick Ryan, Dom Hahn, Carl Forbaugh, Matt Zapetti all caught the scores. The Raiders never got closer than 13 after the first quarter. Big win for the Haddons.
Well, at Paulsboro, coming back, team, replacing Carson Wolf at quarterback.
Yeah.
This kid, wow, 16 for 19. I mean, we're not talking 6 for 8.
Right.
No offense to the teams that do that, but this is, he's throwing it a lot of times, pretty consistently with a bunch of yards. A lot of different guys are catching it and scoring for them. And at Paulsboro, tough place to win, as we know. Haddonfield's, they just seem not to skip a beat, right? I mean, they just come from last year, bang, right off and on the road and do a great job. Coach Delano and crew.
Yeah, they really do. And, McCarthy, as some had reported, some of the best arm strength we've seen in South Jersey. I was really, really impressed with him. I know his dad was an offensive line coach there for a number of years, and he's been in the system since he was 6th grade. The youth coming up, he knows all the verbiage. Last year he played in a couple games when Wolf was dinged up. Wolf came back, took the job, went on, won the Group 2 regional championship for the South. And, McCarthy came back ready to go. Knew it would be his job probably, and worked and really just great.
Absolutely. And you got guys that, it's always nice when you got a championship team with guys coming back.
A lot of guys, yeah.
Yeah, have a taste of what it was like. I mean, it's always tough to replace those seniors, but, juniors who are there for those games, it's nicer when they win in those, and just get a feel of what's expected. And as I say, Coach Delano and his guys, I mean, we knew they'd come in prepared. As you said earlier, they had a couple months to get ready for that one at Paulsboro.
Yeah, and, they're one of the teams who started in week 1, not week 0. And they have a bye week this week, so they get another week off to prepare for the rest of the season. So some teams will have played 3 games or be playing their 3rd game by the time Haddonfield is on their 2nd. And I think they're okay with that.
Some freshman teams are about to play their 3rd game.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a lot of football. School started today too, I think, right? Everybody's back to school at least, right? Some started yesterday, and I think the rest of them came in today. So everybody's in session, everybody's playing football, and we're up and running. The fall's, we're jumped into September.
Absolutely. Paulsboro, big test going to Woodstown on Friday night. We'll touch on that one in a little bit. Thank you to TurnersvilleJeep.com for their sponsorship from last week's Game of the Week. It was Haddonfield, 44, Paulsboro, 26. We've got a lot of action to recap, some North Jersey versus South Jersey, some South Jersey versus South Jersey, some Rutgers, some Medford, some of everywhere in between.
We're everywhere.
A lot of action, crazy comeback we had over in a Cherry Hill Mall affair over in Pennsauken.
Yes. West versus Pennsauken, crazy game.
Yeah, so we have a lot to touch on. We'll be back right after this to touch on last week's games. Then we'll look forward to next week, and I think we have some rankings this week, Mac.
Then I can figure out where to submit my receipts.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com on Route 42 in Turnersville. Turnersville Jeep is proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. TurnersvilleJeep.com has a huge inventory of Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Ram trucks, all brand new. They also have a ton of pre-owned vehicles, plus an award-winning 5-star service department. Drive a little and save a lot at TurnersvilleJeep.com. They're located on Route 42 in Turnersville, or visit TurnersvilleJeep.com. The show is also sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 2 years, the association has created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $20,000 to date to provide scholarships and help those in need. The show is also sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 2 years, the association has created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $20,000 to date to provide scholarships and help those in need. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products, who also sponsor the show. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They have built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had the opportunity to be around owner Mike Fody, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold-accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the Elite Provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up numerous Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Ricky Moriello at Remax Community. If you or someone you know is looking for real estate in South Jersey, find Ricky and reach out to him. He's helped us bring this show to you each week for the last couple of years. We can't be more grateful for that. He knows where to find your real estate. Give him a ring at 609-352-9476. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Cherry Hill Kia and Cherry Hill Mitsubishi on Route 70. If you want to talk about top-notch selection and service that's the best around, take your car to either of these dealerships. You won't be disappointed. And while you're there, you could probably talk some ball, too. These guys love South Jersey football. Get over to Cherry Hill Kia or Cherry Hill Mitsubishi today.
All this weekend in the first full week of the season. Let's take a look at some of it. Thursday, we were in the same place down in Medford.
Yes, we were.
Down by the Pines there. Joe Papa led the way for Shawnee in a 48-14 rout of Eastside. Papa ran for $185, 4 scores through for another. I like the way he played behind center. A lot of that running into the boundary, right? Puts his shoulder down, big kid. Much different identity than what we've seen the past 4 years from Shawnee, where they're throwing it around a little bit more. Well, Tyler Nichols, 2 touches, 2 touchdowns on those touches for freshmen.
Freshman,
Tyler. Go wide.
Nickel wearing the nickel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, number 5.
He said that wasn't on purpose, though. His name's Nichols. He wears number 5. Didn't factor it.
I've known him a long time. I believe him. So, yeah, great day for him as a freshman. Anytime you get in the end zone, but as a freshman, it's a pretty cool thing, being a part of the program there at Shawnee. Look, Papa played well the week before. I mean, but you bring up, Wellesley did a little bit more with his arm and was more improvised run.
Yeah.
This was quarterback deliberate run, and he is a load to bring down. As Tom Pagic said, and we watched the first half together, that dude's a problem. And look, Shawnee looked like a totally different team on Thursday as opposed to a week earlier, squeaking by on Northern Burlington. I mean, defense, the Gilmore kid, he played like he was possessed.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he was getting after it, and the stalwarts they have, Jimmy Potter and Ethan Krause and Palouse and those guys and Jackson Harris up front. I mean, the senior, a really good group of seniors that are playing together, the Abbott kid, the Welsh, just, have known each other a long time. And, a lot of programs. You get guys who've, gone up the ranks together. But I didn't see this coming on Thursday. I didn't see. I mean, I knew Shawnee was going to get better between week 0, week 1, that 1 week we talk about. But putting the way they did, and they were down. They were down early, 7-0. Had some adversity and fought back with it.
Yeah, I think you summed it all up, Mac. I mean, Eastside was down a couple of guys. I think that their season they'll continue to get better as the season wears on. But I think Shawnee, having played that game, you said, it looked different, that they'd already been out there. They beat Northern Burlington by 2 in week 0. They survived a challenge. They came home. They had that home opener. And just a big effort all around. I thought they were very physical. We talk about in the past, some of the teams Shawnee has struggled with being more athletic teams. Not at all this week. I mean, they really just put the shoulder pads down. I was impressed with the way they played, and we'll talk about their matchup they have next week with a big rival. It's usually over some turkey.
Yeah.
That they faced a similar squad. Lenape played Wayne Valley, another one where the quarterback runs, and they struggle with that. So
yeah, they're going to click on the film and look at kind of a mirror.
This was out of your playbook, right? This is Matt LaJoy, quarterback power, quarterback sweep. Let's go.
Well, I mean, it's some design run, some RPO stuff. I mean, they do it, and Papa's a kid to do it and does it well. Like you said, we'll talk about that game coming up, but it's, again, that one, a lot of emotion, down the street.
Sure.
In inter-district type thing, so always an interesting matchup when those two teams get together.
Yeah, Friday night, I went up to Rutgers. I saw Millville play against Irvington, one of the better public schools in the state.
You said one of the better?
Yeah.
We don't give an EST yet, Rod?
It was a sloppy game for the Bolts. They really couldn't get out of their own way, Mac. They lost 25-17. Irvington played very well. They had a lot to do with it. They have some severe talent when you look at Famad Toure, Nasir Addison, Adon Schuler. Looking at guys who are going to Rutgers, Kentucky, Notre Dame, big bodies. And I thought the Knights played very well.
Dude.
They were impressive. In looking at the Bolts, though, you could tell that rust just from playing on a Sunday, film on a Monday, practice 2 days, you're back up at Rutgers. Looked like they took them a while to snap out of it. And really, for much of the game, their only offensive play to speak of was Thomas Smith's 79-yard touchdown. It gave him a 10-6 edge. One of the first times I've ever seen this, Mac, and maybe the only time I'll ever see it, is Millville had a 1-yard punt to their own 1. I think they punted out of their end zone, the ball backspin, and that ended up costing them. They just seemed out of sorts. They dropped a couple touchdowns, dropped a pick 6 probably. All the credit to Irvington, but I think a loss like this for Millville recalibrates them, maybe. You hope so, if you're a Millville fan.
You put it out there, the Sunday, Friday turnaround. I mean, typically that stuff doesn't happen until the end of the year where we used to have a Friday, Thursday, Thanksgiving type deal or, a playoff game, et cetera. It's tough to get the body going again, especially this time of the year. It's hot, it's humid, you got to rehydrate. I mean, how hard do you practice the guys during the week? These guys still aren't in full football shape yet. So you're sitting there as a coach and a staff of saying, okay, how do you practice this week? You want to continue to kind of beat the legs to get them in shape, but you want fresh legs on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, whenever you're going. So, tough formula to figure out, especially when you're playing a team like Irvington. It's not like you're not rolling into, with all due respect, Rutgers goes up to BC, then you're playing a kind of a not as strong a Wagner team the next week. So they Millville backs up Thomas Jefferson with going up there playing Irvington. So, but that's the way they like things there.
Right, and I have a lot of respect. Dwayne here says Coach Smoke had an amazing game plan. He did. I thought Irvington was really came in with all the screws tightened in the right spots. They were without their starting quarterback because they lost a knee injury, so they went with Toure most of the time at quarterback. I know in the second half they switched off to one of his teammates. But I was very, very impressed with Irvington. I suspect the weather gets a little bit colder, they could be one of those teams we'll see up in those initial state championships. South Jersey, let's talk about what we saw Sunday in the early afternoon, Mac. Lenape blows an early lead, falls to Wayne Valley 28-25. South Jersey, this was not a shining weekend for the South versus North argument. Michael Lenape caught an 80-yard touchdown the first snap, but he's lost to much of the game with cramps. We saw a lot of cramps this weekend, I can tell you that.
Yeah,
but the Tribe led 13-0. Mac, Wayne Valley refused to go away.
13-0, 19-7, 19-14, 25-21.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a late lead. There's a lot of guys, like you said, the fluid issue, playing on the turf. It was hot for both teams. But this was Wayne Valley's second game of the season. Wayne Valley had played Delran at the Battle of the Beach. Yep. So I really liked Wayne Valley watching him. I'd never seen him play. I mean, the quarterback was just a heady, tough kid. And their tailback, the number 9 kid the quarterback Shepline, right? Shepline.
Yep. But Dwayne told us about him.
Yeah.
He said, watch for this kid.
Yeah, he's a guy. He's definitely a dude. And, and they weren't, they weren't going away. Mm-hmm. And the longer that game was playing. So, again, credit to them. They didn't want to start their season out 0-2 with the pride their program has, and Lenape's got to figure stuff out. And as they say in this world, you got to figure it out quick because, as we said in the first segment, they got the friends from down the street.
Yeah, I thought that Lenape was pretty disappointed at the way they finished that game or lack thereof, and you felt the wind kind of come out of their sails, even though they took the lead late. It seemed like that was going to be it. Shepline throws a pass down the seam on a busted cover on I believe 2nd and long after a hold.
Yeah.
It seems like you really got in a good position if you're Lenape. You give up a big pass, and next thing you know, the game is over.
The fatigue with all those things hurts the thought process too. It's not just the bodies; it's making the decisions. You can draw all you want up on the board, but when coverages get blown, it's kids playing the game too. So things happen.
I don't want to disparage anybody who played, certainly, but LeMay is a top weapon for this team. Zaire Goffney-Fleming will be a top weapon for this team offensively. He couldn't play due to an injury, so you're out 2 guys.
Well, he's tweaked on. He got tweaked early in the week. Like he didn't even start the game. Goffney, and then LeMay's one of their guys. He was out after the first quarter, which is interesting because you're going through the whole preseason, the whole camp, but football. We've talked about this in the earlier shows, and I know I get a little bit on my little box about this, but some of the rules that these coaches are kind of strapped with about how much hitting they can do. If you're going to hit on the fly, you just can't mirror the NFL model. I mean, those guys, they're professionals. That's what they do. They're getting themselves. You got to get your body ready to take on the hits. And I don't care how many sprints you run. I don't care how many gashes you run in practice. Nothing gets the body ready to tackle and block like tackling and blocking. I mean, so it sounds very, old school, cliche-ish, but, it's not surprising to see guys all over South Jersey, all over North Jersey. Games are lasting 2.5 or 2:45, 3 hours because 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes are going down a game.
Yeah.
And they're not out of shape.
No.
They're out of football shape, Rod.
Right.
Different, as you know, different animal that being in cardiovascular shape as opposed to, anybody who ever, I guess akin to boxing. If you ever boxed a minute, I tried that once, right? You can't.
Right.
You can't lift your head up after 30. You do, so football just takes a lot out of you, and that's what we're seeing early in the season.
Yeah, and we're seeing lack of attention to detail in terms of those game situations. I mean, Lenape is usually a staple of our top special teams play, and they were bad.
Missed extra points. Yeah, I mean, and again, around, I'll say the league, around South Jersey, around the punting issues, because when you're, as a coach, you're trying to figure out, like, what, you got to get everything's got to get in, so the attention to detail on everything, you're trying to be inch wide, mile deep, but you got to touch on all different facets. You got to play, we talked about this when Coach Leary was here 3 weeks ago. You got to go through all the end of game situations, all those scenarios, and that takes time. And you,
Right.
and these are high school kids. You can't be on the. You're not going to have them on the field 4.5, 4 hours. 4+ hours. I mean,
Right.
we're finally in school now. You really can't. Kids got to get home and do their work, and so it's a lot to get digested. Yeah. Teams will figure it out.
Well, they will.
By October, you'll know what is what.
Well, they will figure it out, and we will have an evolution. We talked before the show, off air, where teams are at the end of the season. That's what we're growing towards here. And any team that's a playoff team is going to be there. Everybody makes playoffs almost that is in contention. So it's about where you are when those playoffs start. We've talked about that in the past. However, one thing you have to make sense of here, it's not just the teams that are struggling that need to tighten things up to get better. The teams that are winning against teams that are struggling, they've got to continue to tighten too. They can't feel like they're so good, because the next thing you know, we might have teams that are 2-0. The next thing you know, they're 2-4 because they didn't continue to right the ship. The win is not all that matters in the way that we're built right now for this long season.
Look, the winning sometimes covers up a lot of those warts, right? We've all been on the bus.
Jason Kelsey said that today in his press conference.
Well, we've all been on a bus after a win, and you get back, and everybody feels good, and you get into that classroom on Monday, or you're watching the film together as coaches. You're like, we're not who we think we are. Like we got a lot of problems, and then conveying that message to kids. It's tough, right? They just won a very tough game. I don't care who they played. Mm-hmm. And then you got to convey that message of, hey, guys, look, it's about getting better. We used to talk about the ER. Yeah. Let's get better. Yeah. Let's get faster. Let's get stronger. I don't know if you're going to be the strongest. I don't know if you're going to be the fastest.
Right.
But you as a player, us as a team, let's get a little better in every facet. You hear teams talk about the 1% each day, whatever their cliche they want, but are they really going to be, our kids what are kids watching on tape, Rod, nowadays? I think, are you making your highlights or are you looking at your lowlights?
They're making the highlights. That's what kids are pretty much worried about. It's just the highlights. They're not worried about the small little details that go along with those. You
know how you get better? Watch your lowlights.
Right.
Don't worry. Look, you made 12 tackles. Great. Why didn't you make the one other? Now, you don't want to be over. And if you can eternally do it as a player, it's better that way, because then if the coach is doing it, then it's like, my gosh, coach, I just made 12 tackles. You're talking about the one I missed? Well, the one you missed might have been the game, right? I mean, so, it's a hard balance as a coaching staff, as position coaches. I mean, a lot of programs have that good cop, bad cop, right? Like, whomever that may be. A lot of times the head coach is the bad cop, right? Nobody, coach is always picking at everything, and that position coach can be in that room, and it's almost like the opposite of the NFL, right? Like the NFL position coaches are ones like, man, you get fired tomorrow, dude, you're done. Whereas in the high school, the position coach is like, look, Mac's a little nuts. He's just always been a little nuts. We'll work on what we need to work on, but that's right. Everybody's got to kind of introspectively figure out, hey, what do I need to do? Not, hey, I had 165 yards rushing, but did I have a fumble? Right. And we used to tell our running backs, fumble, minus 75 off your yardage off your fumble. So if you had 200 yards and a fumble, that's 125. 2 fumbles, you had 50 yards. Right. So you got to do the math, Yep. Hold on to I'd rather have a kid hold on to the football and have 125 than 202 fumbles.
No doubt, Meg. I mean, look, there is definitely something to that. You need to go through. You need to watch your lowlights. That's why we have so many people watch the show every week. I mean, they're here just to feel better about themselves.
Here's the lowest.
These are the guys who don't know anything about ball. No, you're right. And there's a lot of improvement needs to be seen all around South Jersey. We've seen that in the first couple weeks, even for the teams who are doing well. One of those teams that's feeling pretty good about themselves after the weekend, Camden.
As they should be.
Yeah. Sunday afternoon, they beat Salem 28-21. Incredible game by Deontay Ruffin, the quarterback. This game had serious dudes all across, and it lived up to the hype and then some. Coach Rob Hinson, his first win at his alma mater, and for athletic director and friend of the program, Will Hickson as well. Ruffin throws for 298. He ran for another 60. He racked up 4 touchdowns on the day and was all 4 of them, and was really impressive throughout. Camden was down 21-14 at half. Ruffin had 2 short scoring runs that were the scoring in the second half. Hameen Anderson, 5 catches, 100 yards and a score. Jalen Hornsby, 4 for 64. Teron Davis, 5 for 85. And defensively, Taquan Brittingham and Israel Clark-White snatched late interceptions to preserve the Highs' win of the season. The defense held Salem's pass game down to 88 yards in the game. Ramaji Bundy, I do want to say, in a losing effort for the Rams, was outstanding. He caught a touchdown and had 2 interceptions as well. Big win for Camden High.
Big for Camden High. Salem's still going. I mean, there are 2 marquee teams going at it. That was big boy football. A lot of, like you said, a lot of talent. You know, it was a little bit who flinched.
Yeah,
you know,
it was a great game.
You know, and again, we talk about credits to coaches and staffs and for putting things like games like this together. They could each, they don't have to play each other,
right?
But sure. That's a good one, and that's what we're seeing a lot more and more of this.
Now the question is, we always see teams that travel outside. We talked about it a little bit last week with Camden traveling to Ohio and having those tough teams as your first game. How much do you think that benefited Camden coming back knowing that they had another tough team in Salem that they had to face? Where Salem, they thought they had a tough team in Cedar Grove, but they just rolled in that. Do you think it was a little bit of benefit, you know, going the other way for one team or the other?
Look, I think so. With these reduced scrimmage schedules, you know, we used to want to scrimmage somebody would punch us in the mouth. I mean, for us, it was Brick Township early on at Atlanta. Like, you knew you'd go to Brick back in the day, and you'd come out of there beat up. And you're like, if you thought you were okay. So Camden High goes out there. And look, I don't know Ohio's rules. For all I know, they might start in full pads on July 15th, right? I mean, so, you know, Coach Hintz is taking his guys out there with 2 weeks of state rules. You know, I mean, that's another thing. Another Mac rant about equal when teams play on when they should play. The team starts, whatever, this date or that date. But, you know, I don't know when Ohio starts. I mean, I'm sure Coach Hintz knows, or they told him when they do, but who knows? But so coming to your point, coming back after playing a power out there, after getting it handed to you a little bit too, right? You got some high expectations as Camden High. You go to Ohio, and look, great trip for the guys. All sounds good on, you know, bus ride, early morning leaving. You know, they weren't going in luxury. They weren't going in charter planes and everything. That's you know, you sit on a bus for 8 hours, back gets stiff, body. You know, it's a tough ask, but it will make them stronger and better. And this week, you know, they come back hungry for Salem. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's all about your team makeup. I mean, it's about your coaching staff. What do they get out of it? You know, if everybody comes back and they packed it in because they just got crushed, I mean, that's a reflection on the team and the players that are on the team, the leadership of the team, the coaches. Certainly, this is something that, even back to Timber Creek, Rob liked to go out of state. He knows the whole protocol for this. We go, you know, we might get smoked, we might win, we might, you know, be close, we might not. We come back, and I know how to recalibrate. So I think it's good on him for getting out of state. And in a game that now, for the PowerPoints, means absolutely nothing. I mean, that game didn't matter at all. It doesn't count in terms of the NJSIA. So, you know, it definitely showed the hunger, I think, for Camden High on Sunday afternoon, and a game that everybody who watched it enjoyed. I know there were a lot of comments. We're even getting comments here talking about what a great game it was. I didn't think the nightcap was so good. It was close. All these games were close, but in terms of being well played throughout, I think Camden-Salem definitely took the banner on that. Winslow fell short against Northern Highlands, 21-17. A little bit reminiscent of the Eagles' season-opening loss last year at Battle of the Beach against Woodbridge. Jameel Peterson played well with 89 yards rushing and a 77-yard kickoff return for 6. I thought that Winslow tightened up the defense after some early struggles, but cramps, guys not being able to finish the game, a lot of rain. Luke Satter catches the game-winning touchdown pass late for the Highlanders from Nate Johnson. That was the winner. So
not pretty, but, you know, the Highlanders come away with the win.
Yeah, they did.
And Winslow will, as we've seen, I'm sure will circle the wagons. You know, after coming off success of last year in the bowl
lost
game,
a lot of
sectional
seniors.
final.
I mean, you can't just replace it. Those guys don't.
No.
there is no Emerald Mitchell on Winslow this year. There might be a player who turns out to be as good as Emerald Mitchell, or maybe the leader he was, but he's not there right now. And you have to play your first game without him for 2 years. A defensive stalwart.
Yeah. Just because
the quarterback, Hamas, Trey Thorpe, heart and soul, right? Like,
and the best quarterback.
Yeah.
Top 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks in South Jersey last year.
No, I thought Jimmy Wilson played well at points, but again,
it's shoes to fill.
Huge shoes to fill.
And you just can't grab a guy's number, right? You're not going to say I'm the new 11,
right.
or
exactly.
That's just not the way it works.
Yeah, and to the point too, Hamas Duren played excellent last year. There was a lot of credit given to the coaching staff, and rightfully so. They do a great job with quarterbacks. But Hamas had to struggle the year before, right? Like he struggled a little bit in that junior year. Now you're taking a guy who, look, he
hasn't played quarterback since his freshman year.
Right.
So he's probably arguably one of the better wide receivers on the team.
Oh yeah.
Some would say,
So the question is how much, and now, a little behind the scenes, not that I would, before Coach Scott, right? Coach Belton is spending every second at practice with DeMott, right? The whole time with quarterback, QB1. Now, Coach Belton's running the team, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
It's the bigger scope of moving from a position / coordinator to head coach, making sure everything's rocking and rolling. He's probably like, man, I want to spend more time with my quarterback, but now I have to do these global duties. It's a tough pull. So
it is.
And with a young quarterback, a young quarterback first game, hasn't played in a while, all those things. So again, time helps all these things.
Yeah. Speaking of time, one of the co-hosts of the show gave me a hard time earlier tonight that there was so much information to get through for this week. And there still is a lot of information because there's a soapbox over here this week. So let's run through them as fast as we can. All right.
I just said it was a lot of content.
It was.
Our editor at home said there was.
Yeah, a lot of content. Here we go. Thursday, maybe the wildest game of the weekend. Pennsauken 47, Cherry Hill West 30. Pennsauken scores 33 points in the fourth quarter, and 26 of them were unanswered. Dante Vicarelli threw for 2 touchdowns and ran for 1. Elijah Jennings had 116 rushing yards. He ran for 2 touchdowns, also had a pick 6. Khalil Ali had a few touchdowns as well, one of them a pick 6. Incredible game, 47-30. Pennsauken starts out on the winning note. Ocean City beats Mainland. The Bridge is red, 21-20. Riley Gunnels, 20 for 34, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jack Hogue, 5 receptions, 139 yards. Ricky Wetzel had the game-clinching interception for the Raiders. Rancocas Valley improves to 2-0. They beat Patterson Eastside, 21-20. Kevin Burr threw for a touchdown. Malachi Castle, our guy, ran for 2 touchdowns. The Garrett Lucas era is off to an undefeated start through 2 weeks. Cumberland 32, Wildwood 0. Kion Barnes, 2 rushing touchdowns for the Colts. Shalleck 36, Pittman 8. Quinn Cardona, 121 yards passing and a touchdown. Kenai Simmons, 4 receptions, 103 yards and a touchdown. I believe he got the Golden Fedora, which of course I'm fond of that. It's a good little award there.
Kind of a hat.
Way to go, Cougars. Deptford 48, Triton 18.
Maybe because you haven't been down in one of their games.
I was down there before the hat got given out a long time ago. It was a consolation game against Gloucester Catholic, the Fog Bowl.
Hat can't make the games where you bring that. They get their own hat, right?
Yeah. Every team should have a hat in the equipment bag. Just give it out to the MVP. Smart move. Deptford would have had a couple to give out against Triton. They win that game by 30. They had 5 rushing touchdowns. Mikey Long, 2 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. Quarterback C.J. Carter, 7 of 8 for 203 and 2 touchdowns. And he ran for 1. Spartans off to a good start. Cinnaminson 31, Collingswood 12, Mac, Mario Patrizzi, whom you played against, right?
I'm older than Mario. Coached against him.
Okay, coached against him.
Mario's brother played at Pennsauken. Mario at Camden Catholic. Mario's son's playing baseball now at Lehigh.
That's right, Mountain Hawks.
Yes, sir.
Kyle Willis, 118 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns for the Pirates. Maple Shade 30, Audubon 20. Maple Shade quarterback Nate Vesey, 3 total touchdowns, 1 passing, 2 rushing. Alex Cintron, 1 rushing touchdown. Pennsville 34, Lindenwold 26. Sky Epps 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns for the Eagles. Palmyra 33. Gloucester Catholic 16. If you get a chance, go see Palmyra at some point. You need something to do up there by the river? Quentin Ives is worth the price of admission. 201 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Palmyra defense, 2 safeties, Mac. It's pretty good. Glassboro 26.
Very good.
Yeah, it's very good. I think, didn't Iowa do that? They had 2 safeties and a field goal. They had 7
They
points.
did. They won 7-3.
Unconventional. That's why you always check the box score if only anybody still printed them. Glassboro 26, Burlington City 20. Jasir Harden threw for a touchdown, ran for 2 more. Zavon Burke-Graves, 1 receiving touchdown, kickoff return for touchdown. And freshman phenom, Amari Saab, who you heard about on the show last week, we talked about him, had interceptions. Haddon Township 33, Gateway 16. Zach Coker, 3 passing touchdowns for the Hawks. Friday in the morning, Woodstown won 46-19 at Haddon Heights. James Hill had himself a game. 6 total touchdowns, 368 total yards. He ran for 312 of those and 4 of them on the ground. Caught 2 more. Bryce Belafonte with a kick return touchdown. James Hill.
Stop them. You might stop Woodstown, but I don't know. They're pretty good. They have some other guys, too.
It's going to be tough.
368 total
Yeah.
for him.
Oh, yeah.
It was very impressive.
Yeah. It was very impressive.
Very impressive.
Williamstown 28, Kingsway 14. This one shocked some. You look at Drew Craig, 12 of 16 passing, 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. Julian Noel played excellent at corner. And so, too, did Mark Williams, who's been dealing with injuries over 3 years here. He's finally getting his chance to shine, and they have a pretty good secondary at Williamstown. This is a big win for them. Jack Cummings punched the ball out inside the 10. Kingsway had a 1st and goal or 2nd and goal. I'm not sure what down it was, but they're down there threatening. Jack Cummings knocks it out. Keaton Ocello picks it up, takes it to the 40. Really, really big swing for the Braves.
Possible 14-point swing.
Yeah.
Right? Could have scored 7, didn't score 7. You know, Williamstown coming off a loss week earlier to RV.
Another one of those cramped games. Took forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, I won't say anything. I've been reprimanded.
Speaking of reprimanded, Cherokee is 0-2. They lost to Hamilton 24-14. Another one that stunned people across South Jersey. Running back Kenny Smith for the Blue Devils, 145 rush yards, 2 touchdowns. His 2nd touchdown sealed the win. Justin Dowdy with a rush touchdown as well. The Chiefs are kind of smarting. You know, they lost a heartbreaker against Holy Spirit in Battle of the Beach. Mm-hmm. They go down to Hamilton. They lose that game. Hamilton chews, I think, 10.5 minutes off the clock. Their first possession, punches it in.
You're not shocked.
Right. That's what they did.
Cherokee played Sunday. Went down and played Friday.
Sunday to Friday.
Sunday to Friday.
Millville, same thing. We saw that.
No, yep. And Hamilton was like, it's not going to be, probably not too sexy. And we're going to possess the ball and keep it out of Bam's hands. Mm-hmm. That's kind of pretty good game plan when you're playing Cherokee.
Yeah, and Hamilton last year, at the end of the year, they were playing much better with a young group. They were really looking forward to this season. And Kenny Smith is one of those guys who, everybody was excited about. There's something brewing down there in Hamilton. But it doesn't get any easier for the Chiefs. They play the winner of the winner of our next game here, which was St. Augustine 30, St. Joe 10, Holy War. Rory Frio at quarterback for St. Augustine, threw for 120 yards and a touchdown. Nasir Christmas, Tristan McLear, and Ryan Gamble all had a rush touchdown as well. Taryn Walker, 3 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown as Lancetta beats Sacco for the final meeting between the two as head coaches at St. Joe and St. Augustine. Holy Spirit, 35.
Possibly. We always thought Pete would be done.
Oh, never know. We don't have any inside info.
I don't have inside information. I'm just,
right.
Because we got guys at Mainland there. We get just,
You never know.
The wheel keeps going.
Speaking of that, Charlie Roman and Holy Spirit, 35. EHT, 14. Sean Burns, 16 of 20 for 139 yards and a touchdown. Jasir Ward, 123 rush yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. Gavin Roman, Mr. Do-It-All, receiving touchdown and a pick 6. Washington Township and Eastern, the Minutemen, 45, Eastern, 12. Jared Dizergowski, 2 rushing touchdowns and a pick 6. Washington Township has both of our knots this week. Dizergowski's pick 6, I believe we have it. Cue it up, Rod. Let's see. Let's see what Jared had cooking. Oh, yeah. He sees that thing coming from a mile away. Grabs it. Easy stroll into the end zone. Flips it to the ref. Been there 100 times.
Right, like he's done it before. Of course.
You know, you get one. It was a tough choice for knots this week. But you get one, and you think, that's pretty good. There were some good ones. We gave it to Washington Township because they have 2 of them. John Williams has a 75-yard kickoff return for touchdown, too. Rod, show him that one. Williams, Dizergowski, both with knots. And John Williams, you know, he doesn't need a crack, but he'll take it. He'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Kicker, no chance. See ya.
Tackled his legs,
Gone.
kicker.
The Minutemen played Toms River North pretty tough in that opener.
Yeah,
Rolled over Eastern. They got a big one this week. We'll talk about it, but I'm impressed with the Minutemen.
Interesting spot for them. They, I think they're a pretty good football team.
Yeah.
I do.
Congratulations on getting the knots of the week. Cedar Creek, 43, Absegami, 18, Billy Smith, 13 and 19, 177 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for one. Mackay Harvey, 138 rush yards and a touchdown. DeJuan Walker, a rush touchdown and a pick 6. Zaire Pilgrim, a pick 6. A lot of pick 6s this week. Cedar Creek moves to 1-1. Woodbury, 14, West Deptford, 7. The Thundering Herder, 2-0. Brian Johnson, 15 of 21 for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jabron Solomon, 5 receptions, 105 yards, caught both touchdowns, and he had a pick. The Solomons are doing work for Woodbury. This week and last week, I mean, they are getting the job done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very agreeable. Overbrook, 20, Bordentown, 13.
We talked pre-show about that one, right? Live.
The Rams scored 20 unanswered for Overbrook as they beat the Scotties. D'Angelo Conquest, a quarterback, 12 for 20, 190 yards. 2 touchdowns. Jason Chavis with a rush touchdown. Pleasantville, 26, Pensgrove, 2. Greyhounds quarterback Samir Miller, 3 passing touchdowns, and he ran for 1. Xander Roberts Bogan, touchdown reception and an interception for Pleasantville. This is a wild game here. Paul to 6, 31, Highland 30. Dom Santiago, the quarterback from Paul to 6, 12 of 17 for 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a touchdown. Jamel Brown had a touchdown catch and a touchdown run. And Will Johnson's 28-yard game-winning field goal came with 6 minutes left to play.
Special teams touch, you know, then the game. I was going to say touchdown, but field goal to win the game. It's good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff.
Congrats, Coach Scuderi.
Gloucester 35, Buna 7. Another knot. Ibn Obi, 89-yard kickoff return for touchdown. Trevin Burkhart, Sharkey's little brother, caught a touchdown pass in the game. So there's another Burkhart on the way. Atlantic City 35, Clearview 17. Boardwalk, Joe Lyons, not Broadway. That's Chris Baker put this together. That's a good call, buddy. 12 of 16 for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He's a little Bama guy, I bet, too.
Yeah. Exactly. Lower Cape May, some of the best helmets in South Jersey. They beat Clayton 27-14. Hunter Ray had over 150 passing yards and a touchdown. He ran for 2 touchdowns as well. Vineland gets in the win column, 28-0 over Bridgeton. Daniel Russo threw and ran for a touchdown. Ryan Carter, another pick 6 guy. We should have counted up the pick 6s. Ramapo beats Willingboro 48-20. Derek Bryant had 2 touchdowns in the loss for Borough. Oakcrest 24, Middle Township 10. Marcus Lee threw for 2 touchdowns for the Falcons. Sam Mensah ran for 132 yards, and they had a safety on defense. Congratulations to Oakcrest for the win. Northern Burlington, Greyhounds back, Clark Norway. That's a good name, Clark Norway. He ran for 165 yards, and all 3 of the scores as they beat Pemberton 21-19. zip.
You want me to get started about the pick six, or you want to move on?
We'll come back to it.
All right, we'll come back to it.
You want to go with it? Go ahead.
You want me to get?
Yeah, go pick six.
Well,
I'm tossing it. You intercept it and run it in.
yeah, I know what it is. I'm just saying, you know why it's happening so frequently? Because you know what? This isn't flag football. This isn't 7-on-7. This is football. You throw the ball in the air, someone takes it, goes the other way, it's a touchdown. It's not, oh, reset, get another set of downs.
To the house.
To the house.
You're right.
Everybody, Rob, we see all these, touch football leagues, and all of a sudden guys go the other way, and it's no big deal. It's okay. Shrug the shoulders. Oh, you get the ball again.
Right.
Another set of downs. You don't get another set of downs. Well, you do. Guess what? You're down 7 points.
That's right.
All right, it's enough. I'm off.
All right.
Move on.
Florence, 36. New Egypt, 8. Darian Woody, 2 rush touchdowns for the Flashes. Delsey, 47. Delran, 7. Jared Shoppy, Zach Maxwell, Xavier Wyatt, all ran for touchdowns. 289 total yards for Delsey. All of them were on the ground.
No pick six. No pick six for Delsey.
That's right. How many bad things can happen when you pass, and how many good things?
Well, we know that cliche. I'm just saying, look, I don't mind throwing the ball. I mean, but it's got to be in a sense of, the quarterbacks have to understand to make good decisions. It's the whole thing.
Kevin Minnick says you've established the fact you're not a 7-on-7 fan. You know why, Kevin? Because you didn't come to my 7-on-7.
But Kevin, we always participated in it. Always. It's not that I'm not a fan of it, but it's that you hopefully move that with the habits and don't do too much of it. But we tackled in our 7-on-7. No, I'm kidding. and we ran draw every once in a while.
Moorestown's 2-0. They beat Cherry Hill East 34-7. John Zolman, 234 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 1 as well. Andrew Curry caught 2 touchdowns and ran for 1 as well. He's scored quite a bit so far for the Quakers. Timber Creek, 56. Camden Catholic, 0. Nas, Reason Dallas, 105 rush yards and 3 touchdowns. Zaheem Coleman Frazier, 2 catches, 75 yards. 1 of them was a touchdown. Seneca, 40. Sterling, 0. Zach Fearon, 117 rush yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Tom Mikulski and Kyle Stickle each recovered fumbles for score. It's pretty good.
Scoop scores.
Nice job, Fish. Way to coach them up.
Yep. Get to the end zone.
Eustis, 27. Holy Cross, 22. Jax Marshall for Houston had 3 rush touchdowns. Makai Simmons ran for 237 yards. Matt Kraft, how many interceptions did he have, Rod?
4.
4. 3 or 4?
4 picks.
3. Mike Kraft, he had 3 interceptions and he had 14 tackles.
Wow.
What do they do? Just keep running and throwing towards that guy? Like, let's keep going to their best guy.
Right.
Right? What's the saying in baseball? Hit them where they ain't?
Yeah.
Hey, you see the guy, number 1, who made all the picks? Let's throw it to the other side of the field.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
If he's made
After
3,
the second
after
one,
the
I
second,
think I know.
you'd say, well, maybe they have other receivers, right, at Holy Cross?
Yeah.
So maybe he was following their best guy, but they maybe have another guy?
I don't know. He's a dog. That's what Coach Pollard says.
I'm sure he is. He was, but eventually you got to.
And right now, Simmons leads the state in rushing per Kevin Minnick. Makai Simmons, 237 rush yards.
Sorry, my earpiece was out.
Yeah, so was mine. Riverside, 35. Princeton, 0. Yvonne Ramos, 175 rush yards, 2 touchdowns. John Boston, 138 rush yards, 2 rush touchdowns for the Rams. Burlington Township, 7. Nottingham, 6. Baron Davis, 9 for 13, 103 yards. David Schlee, 5-yard pass to Yater Tapia for the touchdown to win the game in the 4th. Hun beat Mastery Charter 48-13. Mastery Charter moves to 1-1 on the season. Coach Troy Still got his first win, retrospect, because Somerville beat Mastery Charter in the first week, but they had an ineligible player. They had to forfeit. So his first varsity win ever in Mastery Charter history comes via the forfeit. Interesting. I also want to give one quick shout out to Jacob Rodriguez, a tailback who our buddy Hector Santiago coaches at Hudson Catholic up in North Jersey. Hector always watches the show. He says this guy Rodriguez reminds him a little bit of our Bambaria down here in South Jersey. He had 185 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns to go with 92 yards receiving and another score through the air as the Hawks beat Paramus Catholic 35-28. Thank you, Hector, for the feedback on that.
Congrats, Hudson.
Yeah, we somehow got through it all, but guess what? There's a whole another week of action we got to talk about, and it's one that's coming up. So if everybody sits tight, promise we'll be back and make it as quick as we can, Mac.
It's a school night, though, remember.
It is a school night. We'll be back right after this.
Show is sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com on Route 42 in Turnersville. Turnersville Jeep is proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. TurnersvilleJeep.com has a huge inventory of Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Ram trucks, all brand new. They also have a ton of pre-owned vehicles, plus an award-winning 5-star service department. Drive a little and save a lot at TurnersvilleJeep.com. They're located on Route 42 in Turnersville, or visit TurnersvilleJeep.com. The show is also sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 2 years, the association has created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $20,000 to date to provide scholarships and help those in need. The show is also sponsored by the West Jersey Football Coaches Association, established to promote, improve, and unite football in South Jersey. In less than 2 years, the association has created the Battle at the Beach and has dedicated itself to helping others. The association has donated more than $20,000 to date to provide scholarships and help those in need. South Jersey, let me tell you about my friends over at SRA Home Products, who also sponsor the show. SRA has been building sunrooms, pergolas, and patio covers for over 25 years. They have built more than 9,000 projects in the Delaware Valley. I've had the opportunity to be around owner Mike Fody, and I have nothing but the best things to say about Mike and his crew. SRA is a gold-accredited member of the Better Business Bureau under the Elite Provider status with Home Advisor, and they've racked up numerous Best of South Jersey awards in the past. They contribute to multiple sport associations and are huge supporters of Williamstown football. Find them online at srahomeproducts.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Ricky Moriello at Remax Community. If you or someone you know is looking for real estate in South Jersey, find Ricky and reach out to him. He's helped us bring this show to you each week for the last couple of years. We can't be more grateful for that. He knows where to find your real estate. Give him a ring at 609-352-9476. The South Jersey Football Frenzy Show is also sponsored by Cherry Hill Kia and Cherry Hill Mitsubishi on Route 70. If you want to talk about top-notch selection and service that's the best around, take your car to either of these dealerships. You won't be disappointed. And while you're there, you could probably talk some ball too. These guys love South Jersey football. Get over to Cherry Hill Kia or Cherry Hill Mitsubishi today.
Welcome back, South Jersey football fans, to the South Jersey Football Frenzy Show. We're going to preview some of the upcoming matchups that we have in terms of Week 2. There was Week 0, there was Week 1. And now, even for a guy who's not the best at math, I could figure out, I think we're 2. Mac,
Yes.
we'll look at our TurnersvilleJeep.com game of the week in our last segment, as well as our first edition of the Best 11 rankings. First, let's talk about a game real quick here. St. Augustine and Cherokee, 6 p.m. on Friday night. The Chiefs are 0-2, and the Hermits seem to find themselves a little bit last week with that 20-point win over St. Joe. You know they will run the ball after what they've seen on film the last couple weeks for Cherokee, who struggled to stop the run. Coach Tom Pagic, who you saw in our last commercial break there, all that Tom does.
Sat with Tom on Thursday night.
Yeah. He has a couple of guys you might want to watch in this one in each color jersey. St. Augustine, Tristan McAleer, 5'10", 175-pound junior, running back, safety, and kick returner. The name may ring a bell, the younger brother of former standout Trey McAleer, who is now playing at St. Francis. He stood out against St. Peter's at Bowed the Beach, multiple tackles, and was active all day on defense. Last game against St. Joe, he had another multiple tackle game on defense, rushed for a touchdown, and had a punt return for a touchdown that was called back, but it showed what he could do. He's an all-purpose player for the Hermits. Jake Zabriskie. 6'2", 205 pounds, senior captain tight end. Does a great job in the run game for the Chiefs' rushing attack. Is physical, securing the edge at the point of attack, and had a great target in the play-action pass game as well. Caught a touchdown against Holy Spirit in the opener. Look for Jake to move the sticks early so the Chiefs' passing game could get on track. Washington Township at Kingsway, 6 p.m. on Friday night. The Minutemen last beat the Dragons in 1965 as their lone win in the series. Kingsway owns that 8-1. They won by a touchdown in each of the last two matchups. The Dragons did. They're looking for a boost after last week's disappointment, Mac. Township showed what they could do against Eastern and Tom's River North.
Yeah, Kingsway doesn't want to start out 0-2. They got high expectations this year. Sectional champ last year. Township, I mean, opening up with Williamstown. These are old tri-county rivalries down there. You open up with Williamstown, then the next week you got Washington Township. So again, week 3 for Washington Township, week 2 for Kingsway. Again, great. It's going to be a great battle, and at Kingsway too.
Yeah,
great venue, new field last year, beautiful.
Some big games coming up for both of these teams, so it'll be interesting. You know, if Township, I think they have Spirit next week. The game we'll talk about.
It's almost like all these teams play each other pre-playoffs. These teams are probably all going to face each other somehow, but somehow, somewhat. Group 5. I mean, you know, the schedule, the days of going undefeated is real. It's just, I mean, teams are going to do it, right. But you know, these schedules are juggernauts. My gosh.
Seneca Triton, 6 p.m. Friday. The Bill Fisher Bowl. Fish goes back to Runnymede. Eastern at Rancocas Valley, 6 p.m.
Fish goes back to Runnymede, but do the Deptford folks come watch it? That's the question.
Right. Good point. Eastern at RV, 6 p.m. The Lionel Bowling Bowl. Former Red Devils star.
Do I get
head
on my
coach at Eastern?
Do I get on my 6 p.m. soapbox show now?
Not yet.
Is that the normal time now for football games?
Looks
6 o'clock?
like that.
I mean, I'm looking down the slate. 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
There's a lot of 6 o'clocks.
Yeah.
Williamstown at Millville. I'd expect the Bolts to show some adjustments offensively in terms of scheme, maybe figure out ways to get the ball in number one's hand. In the COVID year, 16-8 win that Millville had over Williamstown kind of kick-started their run here, catapulted them. Remember, we weren't really thinking about Millville back then. We were talking about Williamstown.
You weren't thinking about Millville.
Well, you still
I've seen one. I had seen.
You still were thinking about
I was still thinking about Millville.
St. Joe and Holy Spirit, 6 p.m. in Absecon. Another Holy War. This is another possible farewell for Coach Sacco to another rivalry. These two are mighty familiar. Sean Burns playing really well for the Spartans, and they seem to have things in a pretty good spot down there. Willingboro at Timber Creek.
The Sacco tour. I don't see teams like wheeling out gifts and doing things like that. Like
no rocking chairs.
No rocking chairs being delivered at these events, are they, Rod? Right.
Yeah. He says no way.
Not a little bit.
No plaques. There's a lot of losses were handed down that area.
Yeah, his 300 and some
red and white
350. Yeah, he's got a lot of pelts on the walls.
Absolutely. Willingboro at Timber Creek, 6 p.m. Friday. Borough is seeking the win column, and the Chargers have had a great start to the season. With their division schedule looming, this is a good opportunity for Coach Brian Wright and company to keep the momentum going. Lenape at Shawnee, 6:15 p.m. This game has been moved to Shawnee. It's supposed to be played at Lenape. They have new turf has been put down, and the track is not quite ready, so they're moving it down the street.
Track's not completed. Actually, this kind of fits what I hate to say what should happen. Last year, the game was at Lenape, so it's kind of if you want to go every other year because of the schedule. So it's kind of in the normal cycle here. This goes back to what we had talked about, right? This is Shawnee's third game. Well, this will be Lenape's second game now. They'll have a little bit of game feel under their belt. Shawnee's feeling real good about themselves. Lenape's coming off a tough one, as we talked about earlier in the show. These guys, they got to strap it on because both teams, they always play each other pretty tough on this game. It's a fun little inter-district rival.
Fun little inter-district rival. Really what it means is it's pain and torment for my co-host here, who, of course, much of the staff at Lenape is very familiar and always rooting for him. And then,
friends.
As Freddie Mac here says in the comments, he's got a couple thumbs up, a couple supporters. He says the Renegades, let's just say that ML doesn't stand for Mount Laurel, but Lock.
Oh,
he likes the Renegades outright.
Okay, well, and then I got still blood at Shawnee, sons there, and friends at Lenape. So it is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a battle. I would think no less of Freddie thinking that Shawnee's it's a lock. So
yeah, he says lead pipe lock.
Okay.
Paulsboro at Woodstown, 7 p.m. Woodstown lost this one last year at Paulsboro. Opened up this season with that rout of heights. I thought Preston Moore pop. He played great for the Raiders last week in the opener, and a couple others did too. But attention to detail, especially reading keys, is going to be key for Paulsboro. Pun very much intended. As James Hill and that rushing offense for the Wolverines can just get it done. This is a great early season division matchup. Highland at Hamilton, 7 p.m. Friday night.
Here's a key. Tackle James Hill.
Yeah, I think in Paulsboro that might be double circled on the whiteboard.
Circle, starred, underline?
Yep.
Oh, it's at 7 o'clock too.
Yeah. Highland at Hamilton is also at 7 o'clock. Highland comes in at 0-2. Hamilton at 2-0. This is a divisional game, and the Blue Devils took last year's clash 21-17. On Saturday, some good action as well. Pleasantville at Salem at noon. The Greyhounds, under first-year coach Malachi Timberlake, had their way with Pensgrove last week. They have good numbers and plenty of talent and physicality. Salem's itching to get back in action after Sunday's loss. Short turnaround after a physical game. Another Sunday to Friday. This is to Saturday, but still Sunday game. There are no easy outs in the Rams' schedule. I know they have Cedar Creek coming up and the tough division.
That's the way they want it. That's the way they set it up.
It's the way Coach Wright likes it. Mm-hmm. Woodbury at Pensgrove at noon. Played in the playoffs last year. Woodbury got off to a slow start and then ran the Red Devils out of town. Both teams have rivals next week, right? Woodbury, I believe, has Paulsboro, and Pensgrove, I think, has Salem. So some looming matchups. Pensgrove should be hungry after the game at Pleasantville last week. Woodbury wants to remain undefeated. The Herd had plenty of weapons. Brian Johnson, in my opinion, extremely underrated in South Jersey. I mean, the kid gets it done week in, week out. He's putting up big numbers.
100%, no doubt.
Pensauken at Eastside on Federal Street in Camden, 1 p.m. on Saturday. Two teams that experienced opposite ends of the spectrum last week. You have Pensauken's incredible comeback, 33 unanswered points, or 33 points in the fourth quarter, 26 unanswered. Khalil Ali's magic.
Three touchdowns in 3 minutes or something crazy like that?
3 touchdowns in 3
He was like Reggie Miller. He's football's Reggie Miller, right? Yes, wow. Yes.
And then Eastside just, they scored early, and that was it.
Nope.
Really.
Yeah,
they went up 7-0, and they did make an extra point.
Missing some guys, though.
Yeah, that was key, wasn't it, Ron?
Yes.
Missing some guys.
10.
Hey, this is old South Jersey North, right? This used to be played at 11 a.m. on Federal Street, Pensauken at Woodrow Wilson back in the day. It is. There you go. I didn't read ahead.
It's the Cherry Hill Mall game.
Right? You got bragging rights at the mall, right? These are the games. These are the games you got to win against each other. So these are always fun. I think I saw, besides Pensauken High, I saw more Woodrow Wilson games because we would go scout. I say we. I would be in the car. My dad would take me. So we'd see the first half of Wilson because Pensauken would play at 1. So Wilson always played at 11.
Yeah.
So we see Wilson now east side at 11 first half, and then we get up to Pennsauken around 12, 12. Games were halves took 45 minutes back then. We get there by 12, and Pennsauken kicked off at 1 o'clock. It was all good.
D2 Sports Network will have the stream, correct, Rod?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Backyard brawl.
Yep.
Mike Rozier Stadium. 1:30 on Saturday. Ocean City at Cedar Creek. The Raiders and Pirates have been, you could argue, they've been probably the two best public teams in that area here recently in terms of their year in, year out success here recently. A pretty good matchup. You got Billy Smith at quarterback, Riley Gunnels at quarterback. I think this will be a fun game, Cedar Creek. Cedar Creek has a big one coming up next week as well with the Eastside Tigers.
Coaches are trying to get people not to look ahead. Trib kind of always nudges. If the kids are watching the show, he reminds them that they got another one ahead, right?
I do it more for the fans.
I understand.
And for my mom.
Well, no, I know. She likes to keep track of what's
she's
going.
keeping track.
Why? Is she a big bettor? She likes to bet the she bets the draft games? High school's not on draft games, is it?
Not yet.
Right. Oh, man.
When it is, if it ever gets there, we'll have a lot nicer clothes. We'll talk about our TurnersvilleJeep.com game of the week right after this, and we're going to reveal our first Elite 11 rankings of the season. So sit tight. We'll be right back.
Best 11.
Yeah, best 11. What did I say?
Elite.
I'm sorry. Best. Elite. But that's the best.
It's the best of the elite.
It's the elite of the best.
Our game of the week this week is sponsored by TurnersvilleJeep.com. TurnersvilleJeep.com on Route 42 in Turnersville. Turnersville Jeep is proud to sponsor South Jersey High School football. And Turnersville Jeep has a huge inventory of new Jeeps, Chryslers, Dodges, and Ram trucks, plus a large inventory of pre-owned vehicles. They also have an award-winning 5-star service department. Drive a little, save a lot at TurnersvilleJeep.com. They're located on Route 42 in Turnersville, or visit TurnersvilleJeep.com. If you take a selfie at this week's Game of the Week, before next Friday, you get a free oil change at Turnersville Jeep on Route 42.
All right, we're back. Thank you, TurnersvilleJeep.com, for your sponsorship of our game of the week. And that is Winslow at Delsey, 7 p.m. Friday night, John Oberg Stadium. Winslow has to do better than last week, especially early on. They struggled defensively. I know that they did get it together towards the end, and things looked a lot better down the stretch for the Eagles. Delsey has been humming along here for a couple of years. They played great in the COVID season. It was shortened.
When you mean couple, do you mean like 40?
Yeah. I mean forever.
Couple of years, right?
I mean forever.
Couple.
I'm excited to see Delsey and this group of running backs and the offensive line play. I know they were stellar last week. They've been stellar. They only lost one game last season. Again, they were very good in 2020, even though that season was cut off. But
when you go to Franklinville,
yeah,
you're going to sleep well that night. Win or lose, you're going to sleep well. That thing, I mean, if it's up to Coach Sal, that thing will be over by 8:30, 8:45.
Right,
but
right.
I mean, talk about contrasting styles. But you better buckle it up and stop the run. Right? We can giggle all we want. Delsey's gonna punch you in the mouth. I mean, they're physical. They run the football. They don't. Nobody. If they throw the ball 3 times, the fans get a little antsy.
right.
Watch, you'll throw 5 this week. I'll look like an idiot, but they're gonna run the football, and it's a physical team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back down there in Delsey. I can't wait for it. I want to see Sal and the bunch and see what they have. And then Bill Belton, his second game. I mean, it doesn't get easier for him. They lost to Northern Highlands in the opener at Rutgers. Short week. Get to go down and face a team that is humming along here in Delsey. That is our TurnersvilleJeep.com game of the week. If you are at that game, take a selfie at the game, and it's noticeable that you're at the game. I keep saying that. It's not the game, but the game. Take that thing to TurnersvilleJeep.com, Turnersville Jeep, get a free oil change all week.
What do you get if
good deal.
What if you get a picture of Sal smiling?
You might even get a new car.
That's what I was gonna say.
Might give you Might give you a car for that.
I don't. We can't say that. No, you're not getting a car.
You're not, you know.
No, you're not.
We'll put in some disclaimer language there at the end.
Read
I don't
it.
think we're gonna have to worry about.
Right, Sal's not going to smile.
I don't think we're gonna have to worry
Sal's
about.
not going to smile.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Mac. The best 11 rankings. We're not going to rip off Mike McGarry as the Elite 11. We're going the best 11 rankings.
McGarry does 11 too?
Yeah, that's what Kevin says.
Why does he do it? Why do he pick 11? Because we do 11 because there's 11 guys on the, best 11. Why does he do it?
Great minds think alike.
You think it worked that way?
Sure.
You got to start here, right?
Yeah, we're going to start with number 11. Team I saw last week in TurnersvilleJeep.com game of the week, Haddonfield. Declan McCarthy looks apart, strong arm. They got a lot of guys who can help. I think about they got a Klaus at running back. That's a staple for Haddonfield to have a Klaus on the team. Charlie looked great last week. And Dom Hahn as well, Bobby Hahn's younger brother. Chris Clax defensively really was all over the place.
When you move into that town, is it a prerequisite to have like 3 or 4 boys in each family before you before you buy a house there?
That's right.
Every family has like 3 or 4 boys that are going to play Haddonfield sports. So you're going to have a kid in the school for 12 years.
Not just play them well.
Well, that's what I mean. Oh, there's a whole vetting process to move into Haddonfield.
Exactly.
It feels like.
Exactly.
We're just jealous. We're just jealous, Coach.
Yeah. I like what I saw from them. I think they're going to continue to get better. They had a lot to build off last season. Should be an exciting season for the Haddons who come in at number 11. At number 10, Winslow. We don't penalize teams for losing out of area. However, what we saw does impact a little bit of it. And I think that this Winslow team has a lot of potential. Johnny Shakur was outstanding the other night at times. I like Peterson a lot at the running back position. Explosive player. But they have an opportunity this week at Delsea to kind of jump up. We've got Winslow at number 10.
Yeah, they lost. They lost to a really good team.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of for our rankings, they're technically 0-0, right? You don't get penalized, but
They could be on 1, but they're still
right,
right.
sure. A team that's not 0-1, Hamilton, 2-0. They're number 9. I think the Blue Devils, they beat Notre Dame 30-24 in the opener, but beating Cherokee the way they did with Kenny Smith running the ball. They get Highland at home this week. They are number 9. Coach Rosso and company.
Agreed. And they're doing it the way they like doing it. Run the football, play tough defense.
Our number 8 team had both knots of the week last week. Washington Township goes to Kingsway this week. They are number 8. They're 1-1, lost out of area in their opening game against Toms River North, who handed it to Rumson Fairhaven up at Rutgers on Saturday. Toms River North looked mighty impressive. That makes you think Washington Township's pretty darn good. They come in at number 8.
You're using the cumulative property of high school sports?
Yeah, a little bit.
A beats B, B beats C, C, A is better than B or better than C?
So we take that, right, all these different formulas. Then we go to the eye test, and I saw Shawnee last week. They are number 7. I liked everything I saw about them. I thought they were physical. I like Gilmore. I mean, the guy's flying. He had a huge sack last week that, I could feel it on the sideline.
It was a big hit.
I like Papa a lot. I know you listed off the whole roster earlier and how long you know all of them. But I like what they have, and they're going to host Lenape at 6:15 on Friday night.
Yeah, they're getting a good rotation going in, and I'm sure the Lenape guys and folks and staff have that circled as well. I mean, cool time, cool game. It's a good spot for the Shawnee.
Shawnee at number 7. At number 6, we have Salem. They fell to Camden last week, but you know what? The Rams are still pretty darn good, and Camden High is pretty darn good too. So Salem at number 6.
Camden's probably ranked ahead of them
I would think so.
somewhere.
See if the guys got that right. Number 5, St. Augustine. The Hermits got in the win column against St. Joe last week. They go to the bowl. This is a good matchup, isn't it?
Augie Cherokee. I didn't think Cherokee would be 0-2.
Right.
I did not. Augie's got to I don't think Pete's sleeping too much this week. You're playing it. I mean, when has Cherokee been 0? Dare I say it? Nope.
No. St. Augustine at number 5. At number 4, undefeated Holy Spirit. They beat Cherokee also in the opener by 3 points on a field goal on the final play of the game. And then last week they took care of EHT. They play St. Joe this week. So after 3 weeks, St. Augustine and Holy Spirit will have 2 common opponents. It's pretty interesting. It's the hard-hitting insight you come here for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you could check the schedules.
Yeah, you can do that too. Gridiron. Number 3, Camden High. Saw them on Sunday. Deontay Ruffin, Hameen Anderson, Jalen Hornsby, Taquan Brittingham. They got guys on guys on guys. I love what I saw from them. And what a heck of a game we mentioned in the first segment of the show. Go back and watch or listen to it. In the second segment, actually, it lasted so long I thought it was the first one. But Camden High, they look pretty good. They play Sterling this week.
They are pretty good.
Yeah, they are pretty good. They play the Silver Knights. Number 2 is the team I will see host Winslow on Friday night at 7 p.m. in the TurnersvilleJeep.com game of the week. That is Delsey. Things keep clicking. I want to see the Crusaders in person. I can't wait for it.
They're fun. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, red and white. Like you said, not a lot of passes. And number 1 still, despite their loss last week, it was out of area. We'll see what they do this week against a Williamstown team feeling pretty good about themselves after their win over Kingsway. Number 1 is Millville, the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, look, they had a little hiccup last week. They got guys. They had to turn around. They played Irvington, as you said in the beginning, might be the best team, the best public school team in the state of New Jersey.
Could be.
Might be.
Yeah. A lot of action to go.
But they got a dude going to Rutgers. Right. They got a dude going to Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. They got a dude going to Kentucky. SEC, Big Ten, and Notre Dame.
Yep.
Champions, whatever.
So the best 11 from 11 to 1, Haddonfield, Winslow, Hamilton, Washington Township, Shawnee, Salem, St. Augustine, Holy Spirit, Camden, Delsey, Millville. If you don't like where you are on that list, win, continue to move up.
Or tweet out the Trible and yell at them.
Yeah. Sure, do that too. All right, Mac. I think we did a reasonably good job. We got a lot of film to look at. We got some things we could figure out. I don't know if we put ourselves in the best position to make plays, but when the plays were there, did we make them?
You mean as a group here?
Yeah, as an organization.
I think it got a little sloggy in the second quarter. We were a little right. We got to clean up. We got to clean up right before halftime, Rod.
I think it's pregame.
Right.
Got to get the pregame right.
Pregame figured out. Right. I can't be so angry about all the little stuff. Or should I?
Well, I think that's what makes you a good coach. I think it's what makes you fit on the show.
I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach.
Well, you're a coach on this show.
Well,
I'm not a coach.
So I say the same thing, that I'm not a coach. But often I get asked, what do people call me when they see me? So what do they call you when they see you, Coach?
Well, we can't say that on air.
Well,
not that.
If it's on Hilton Avenue at 1:30, it's yo, little Mac. What's up? I'm one of the little Macs. But yes, I am referred to as coach.
But you would be surprised how many people call me coach, and I have never coached.
Well, it's also a term of endearment. So it's when someone's saying it, they're saying it in a fond way usually. It's better than bud or pal.
We came dangerously close to Mac actually being a coach on Sunday, and I'm glad we don't have video of it where Mac got a little too into the game down there at Rutgers.
I was rooting for Lenape. I was more of a fan than a coach. I would call myself a fan. I wasn't coaching. Right? Would you agree? I wasn't.
Did you get on the officials?
Well, there was.
No, I didn't. No,
of course not.
There was an almost. Here's a situation. We're at the tail end here. There's almost a 15-yard penalty. There was a 15-yard penalty on the Wayne Valley kid, and the Lenape kid looked like he was about to. And the parent in me was like, yo,
the parent.
Get back. We don't want offsetting, right? We wanted the 15. That's all.
I don't think parents know what offsetting means.
I didn't want an unsportsmanlike against Lenape. That's all. I wasn't coaching.
Yeah, you did a good job. You did a great job, whatever you were doing. I want to thank also Coach Ab from West Orange. I got my West Orange colors on. He's been great to the program. Joined me. He was my security detail for the second 2 games. Thanks, Coach. I thought you did a good job. You weren't ejected. You left on your own volition. Nobody really mentioned it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's good.
I wasn't openly rooting.
No, not at all.
No.
No, you did a nice
I
job.
did all right. I was part of the media.
Yeah. You still are.
Yes, it's tough to. That's why at the Shawnee games I'm up in the stands. That's where I should be, right?
Right.
With Coach Pagic.
Exactly.
Thank you, Coach, for your insight on that Cherokee St. Augustine game. Go back and find out who Tom Pagic wants you to watch in that game coming up. A special shout out to Rod Self, his company, D2 Sports Network. He's going to be streaming the Eastside Pennsauken game on Saturday. So when you tweet me or message me, do I have a link to a stream? I'm going to say yes for the first time ever. And I'm going to send you over to D2 Sports Network. He gets all this done from beautiful Studio B. First-class studio. I can't recommend anything more than Rod's.
We gonna have some play-by-play on that, or we
Yeah. The full boatload.
full? Right?
Full boatload.
Is it gonna be? Who's doing it? You gonna have two do it? You gonna have?
We're working on some stuff.
All right. I don't want to give anything away. All right. Will it be entertaining?
Yeah, very entertaining.
Of course.
Very.
And remember, guys, we will be back here Sunday at 9 a.m. for my Hats Off podcast with Rod, first one of the season. So get ready for NFL Sunday football and all this stuff. And in the meantime, share the show out. We'll have it on podcast, streaming, all this stuff. Everybody's ready. Everybody's ready for week 2.
Hey, Pennsauken High's quarterback, Dante, Vic, his dad, Lenny, superstar at Camden Catholic back in the day. You actually saw Lenny on some film, last fall.
Yep.
Some 8mm with the clicker.
I watched that on film with Mac. It was the first time he had not been at a Thanksgiving Day game because Shawnee and Lenape didn't play that Thanksgiving due to COVID. And they will not play this Thanksgiving either. So maybe we'll watch it again.
The 28-28 Camden Catholic Bishop Eustace tie.
Yes. The Turkey Day game will take place 6:15 Friday night at Shawnee. For Tim McAneney, Rod Self, myself, Glory Days, thanks again, Sully. We will see you guys next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Be here Sunday, 9 a.m. for the Hats Off podcast. I'm not. You're not. Just me and Rod. Just the good guys. We'll see you.